G'day guys, what I have here today is a parcel which has just arrived from Banggood containing my gimbal that I ordered, and it took a month for this little parcel to arrive here in South Africa. It was ordered on the 26th of July and it arrived today, which is the 27th of August. However, I must note that 20 of those days were spent in South African customs. The South African customs process is unfortunately incredibly slow, so no fault of Banggood there. Anyway, I'm going to open it up, see what's in the parcel. There's one or two other goodies which I'm not interested in at this stage. I'm interested in the gimbal. Alright, there we have the box. Very plain, nothing complex. Inside, some basic instructions. Says what it weighs, how to install, and it's got the diagrams at the back. Alright, further on the box is empty. Okay, I have a little package here containing the cables and some screws and things, and in here we have the gimbal. Alright, and it has its little mounting strap here as well. Alright, let's quickly see what it weighs. That is 208 grams, and if we are going to be using these screws, let's add them. 224 grams. That's 7.88 ounces, 0.493 pounds. Okay. Alright, the reason I got this little gimbal is for use on my Cheerson CX-20, and I plan to just remove that and then use the stock plates to mount this on. These leg extensions that you see here are modifications. You will see on my channel there's another video on which I explain why I did this, but it just makes landing a little easier with the Cheerson CX-20. Now, the reason I want to use the stock plates is I still want access to my USB ports and the other ports. Alright, before we go ahead and test, I just noticed something, and that is this power connection. It's a little JST male plug, and that is not going to work for me. Fortunately, in this little packet of goodies, there is a female JST plug. So I am going to be cutting this off, and I'm going to be placing that one on there because that is what I need in order to plug it into the 12-volt supply on the bottom of the CX-20. I suppose you can't see it that way around. Alright, I will be using that 12-volt power supply. Positive on that side and negative on this side, or ground and plus. And I will be using only one signal wire, but I will show you once I get to that point. Right, so I will also be using the Xiaomi Yi camera. Reason being is I like it, it's cheap, it's good quality, but the only problem is, oh hold on, and it only weighs 70 grams. The only problem is this little strap that they have provided. Hold on a second, let me pull that out there, because I am going to pull it out anyway, because I'm going to be modifying this slightly. Now, this has originally been designed for the GoPro, and I'm assuming that the GoPro has a slightly smaller lens opening. Now on the Xiaomi Yi, that doesn't actually fit over. So I will be using a file or rough sandpaper. I will see which works best, and filing the inside of this slightly so that it fits over snugly on the Xiaomi Yi action camera. Right, let's go do that. Alright, I'm back, and what I've done is this little brace or bracket or whatever you want to call it, I have enlarged using 220 grit sandpaper, metal sandpaper, and a combination of a file to just make it a little larger so that it fits snugly over the Xiaomi Yi's lens. Right, so that fits in there quite nicely. And the other thing I did is I cut off the original connector, which was a male JST connector, and I took the female JST connector, which is in that little packet of goodies, and I soldered it on there, and I heat shrinked it just to get it to look a little neater. Okay, and this is the communication cable, which is part of the set inside the packet of goodies. However, in my case, all I'm going to be using is one of these cables, and I've chosen just to use the blue, and I'm going to strip that off the rest because I don't need the rest of them. There may be some of you that want to control the pitch, the roll of the camera. I'm not interested in that. I'm just going to show you how to control the pitch, which is a forward and backward. Now, this cable and the pitch control of the camera, it's just of the gimbal, apologize, is, let me just double check this, top left, which is that one. So you plug it into that one. So if you look at it from the back, it's in the top left. Okay, now I'm just going to unplug that for a second because I just want to show you where it plugs into the CX-20 on the bottom. Now if you look at your row of connectors, this side is the power, into which we're going to be plugging the power. Now I'm going to be using the second one because the top one closer to the USB is a little too close to the USB plug, and I tested it just now. I didn't want to plug in there, not comfortably. And the one we're going to be using is that top one there. Now if you look at it like this, it is the top left. Okay, right, now I'm quickly going to plug this in and just demonstrate that it is actually working. Alright, I have the standard battery plugged in, and as you can see, the gimbal is stabilizing quite nicely, left and right, forward and backward. I've not plugged in the signal cable yet because that is something I'm going to be testing outside to show you the pitch forward and backward. Alright, what I've done is I've taken the stock plate, the bottom part, and I have attached the gimbal plate to the top. I first attached them with cable ties through the middle, and then I used these actual mounting spacers that are provided in the gimbal's little extras bag to tighten these together. Unfortunately, I don't have any small enough nuts to make that look much nicer, but let's test this and see if it works. Okay, I've now attached the top stock plate as well, and since I do have these going through these little spaces, I have now added the screw at the bottom, and I have screwed it in at the top. This now makes this a rigid mounting plate. The reason I decided to do that, I do not trust these balls and anti-vibration balls because they might be a little small. These are a lot bigger. They will be handling the vibration. This now just becomes a rigid mounting plate. Alright, so here I have my Cheerson CX-20 with the gimbal completely installed, and it was a bit of an exercise in acrobatics. I had to change a couple of things in the end. Now, what I eventually opted for is to leave the original base plate there and mount the gimbal plate onto that using some screws which were provided with the gimbal. Now, fortunately, the total weight at this stage, which also includes the extended PVC landing gear that I have added, because I am still waiting for my 450 DJI extended landing legs or landing gear. I have decided to extend these using PVC piping. These holes, if you are wondering, is just the hot glue that I used to glue these on. I have a little more grip onto the PVC piping. This is normal 10mm PVC piping, which I just cut in half and extended. I also added at the back a couple of wire or cable ties, which are linked together, which just gives a bit of spring, and that's just to stop these legs from splitting too much and cracking, because the ABS plastic from which these things are made does crack, unfortunately, a little easy. Alright, now there's the gimbal, and I'm going to connect it up to the battery just to demonstrate to you how it works. Now, fortunately, as I was busy mentioning, the total weight of the CX-20 now is 1,250 grams, which is about 100 grams below the comfortable lift limit. Now, the comfortable lift limit, from a couple of reports that we have heard and real life scenarios, is 1,350 grams. You can go convert that on whatever you want to get to the weight thing that you use. But anyway, there we go. I've switched on and transmitter on. There we go. Alright, just get it to 0. Right, now I'm going to lift this up so that you can see. I have connected this. I'm going to try and get this into image so that you can see both at the same time. It is fairly sensitive on pot 1. So that lifts it up and that points it down. And the further you turn it, the more it turns down. The further you turn it, the more it points up. I've got no idea why we want to point it that far up, but I will probably be using it in the region of around there, I'd say. So there you can see it works, and twisting back and forth and up and down. There you can see. Let me level that out a little more just so that you can see. Right, and you can see it actually works quite nicely. Let me get these props out of image. There you go. And we are stabilizing. But I am pretty sure you are not too interested in seeing how mine looks. Let's go see how she flies. Okay, before I do forget to mention, on the back on how to connect the signal cable. Now the signal cable, in this case, on this one, on the gimbal, I'm going to turn it the right side up. So there you can see where it is connected on the gimbal. It's connected top left. So there we go. Top left on these pins, that's where it's connected. And underneath, I'm going to be pointing it nose towards me. There's power. Do remember to make sure red is on the positive side and black is on the ground side. I've connected on the center port simply because that is where I want it to connect, because that was the easiest for me and the other one was a little hard to get into, but it doesn't really matter. And inside here, now this is where it gets a little tricky to see. I've just pushed this long wire underneath. I probably will cable tie it eventually. But in the signal wire is in the top left again. Now we'll take a photo of this so that you can actually see it a lot clearer. And yeah, that is it. That's all I'm using. That just controls the pitch of the camera, because the pitch is all I am really interested in. If you do wish to control the roll, obviously you will connect it to that pin right next to it as well, the one just to its right, including on the quadcopter on the Cheerson CX-20 and the gimbal, using one of those wires supplied in the goodie bag. Okay, let's go see how she flies. We've got a bit of a stronger breeze than I was hoping for, considering the additional weight of the gimbal. I'm going to try and see, because this will be a nice test. It's not a strong wind, but it is a bit of a breeze, but it will give us quite a bit of a nice test to see how the CX-20 handles a bit of wind with the added weight of this gimbal. Considering the entire lift weight is now 1,250 grams. Anyway, let's go ahead and see how she performs. Just as a note, you will note that I have my CX-20 on a launch pad. It is it's just a very light board stuck to the bottom of a foam board or polystyrene board, whichever way you want to call it. The only reason I do that is just to keep my Cheerson CX-20 clean while I'm busy setting up the battery, etc. Working out here in the dust in the field, things can get a little dirty, so I just prefer to keep it clean. I am not planning to try and land on that. It is a little small. I'll probably be hand catching it, just because out here with this wind I feel it is a little safer and I'm a little more comfortable with that. Okay, let's see how it goes. Alright, let's go ahead and see how she goes. Right, and motors are disarmed, and I'm pretty happy. That seemed to have worked fairly nice. That total flight was now 6 minutes. I got one low voltage beep when I added quite a bit of throttle, so I decided to bring her in, and total flight time was 6 minutes when I got that first beep. I don't want to stress it at this stage because the wind is a little more than I'm comfortable with. That is flying with a 2700 milliamp battery, and 6 minutes is not bad considering the amount of weight that the CX-20 is carrying. I seriously doubt that a bigger capacity battery is going to give you that much better. But I do have to mention also that the battery is not dead. I don't like to stress my batteries right down to its end. I also actually fly with the logbook. I note my times, my battery voltages, the charging cycles, etc. If you're really interested in obtaining a copy of my flight log, I'll send you a template of what mine looks like, so that you can have an idea of how to set up your own flight log. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, subscribe. I'm planning to add quite a bit more of these type of videos. Cheers.